Hello, Mean Queen here, Life After Money. You only need to see my hands today because I'm going to show you how to wrap some rings. Someone asked me how it's done, so I thought I'd make this little video. I've made this with wrapping wool cords around rings and then stitching them onto a backing. I started with a large ring there, a metal ring. That one is a plastic ring. Basically you can use any rings, plastic, wooden, metal, washers, different sizes, small rings as well, little rings. I first found this in a magazine, so I thought I'd have a go with it. It's called Gothic rings, but you can have a go at this and do your own thing basically, but the principle is the same for the start. When you start wrapping your rings, you can use wool, any kind of wool, you can use string, you can use cord. We've got cord. What else have we got? I've made some cord. You can make cord out of fabric. This is, I think, a t-shirt fabric, so it's a bit stretchy. So what you do is you cut a long length which 1 inch wide, and you twist it and you twist it and twist it, and you put it through the sewing machine on a zigzag stitch, and it binds it into cord. I've had a go wrapping this ring with this cord. Not sure if it's going to work very well though, because it is a little bit bulky, but it looks quite nice. I shall keep that in mind for a different project. But yeah, so here's a couple of my rings, which I've made quite a lot actually. So there's lots you can do with these rings, but you need to know the basics of how to start. So I've got my plastic ring and I've got some wool which I've threaded onto a needle. It's a long needle. It's easier if you use a long needle. There's a bit of a technique to this and it gets a little bit fiddly. The length of wool, you do need to try and put enough wool on your needle which is going to do the whole ring. In the beginning there's a bit of a guesswork, but what I do is I stand up and hold this wool and dangle it on the ground, and I measure it up to my shoulder, my top of my shoulder, and halfway down again. So I'm really hoping that this is going to be enough to cover that ring. So what do? You get the tail end of it. It's, as I say, a bit fiddly. Don't know if you can see my hands alright, but you need to pinch your ring in the left hand or the right hand if you're right-handed or left-handed, but I'm right-handed, so I'm going to pinch that and trap this wool here, right in between, at the back. Should I be that way round? So you have to look back to front at this. So what you'll be needing to do is keep hold of that tail end there and get your needle and push it through there. It's best to get this rhythm going when you first start. So it's like a blanket stitch, only we haven't got a blanket. Get this piece of wool here and go round the needle and pull through. I hope I'm in shot with this. It will take a lot of pulling through, so it's just wrapped it around once, but now you need to hold that and put your finger at the back of it, because you need to do that motion over and over again. So I'm working from my right to my left, so I'm going to go in at the front. Now I'm holding that needle between my finger and the ring, because I need the other hand to go like that with the wool, and then pull through. You will find that you'll get lots of tangles when you first start because you're working with such a long piece. There you are. I must try and keep in shot because I keep moving away from the camera. Can you still see me, Mother? Right, I've done one, so I've still got hold of that tail end, so I'm going to go through again, hold the needle there in place with that finger and just go round. Maybe if I went this way around you could see it better. Right, so same again, and this is where it's repetitive, but you do need to hold that needle tight and wrap round and pull through. If you can just get into that sort of rhythm, that routine, off you go. Hold the needle, wrap round, pull through. Right, you will get a few tangles, but you'll just have to put up with that and sort it out. When you've pulled it, don't pull it too tight, right, because you need the loops to slip on the ring. So you don't want it dead tight and you don't want it dead loose. It needs to be snug, I would say. Just give it a little wiggle like that and off you go. It is a bit laborious with I've got a cat in there look, when you're just starting and your thread's still long. So push through, pull the wool through and just give it a little wiggle. Bit of a knot there, so a little tug. Do you think you can do that? Have you got it? Have you got it? Let me try to stay in shot for you. My camera is on an upturned small table and it's stuck into a piece of polystyrene, and it's got some wire loops at the front to stop it falling over. I don't have a tripod. Right, another cat hair, look. That's the problem here, cat hairs. So we've got a bit of a rhythm going now. So off you go. See how quick you can do it. But keep it neat and tidy. Needle through, hold tight, wrap round, pull the wool through. I think that's easy enough, isn't it? See, I've still got that tail end there because I'm going to need that when I come all the way around the other side. If you don't hold on to it, it does get tangled up with the rest of it. So it's best if you can just put it through your finger like that. Right. A longer needle works best, but if you haven't got one, use a shorter one. Because you need to hold that needle just there. You need to wrap round there and you need to pull it through while still holding the ring. Keep the ring in the left hand if you're right-handed, like me. So we've got a bit going there, we've got an inch or two. Keep moving away from the camera here, I'm hoping you're getting it all. Iron shot, Mother. Oh, I could do with the cameraman really. Pointing up my hands. Or a camera woman, I suppose. But what you'll find as well is your long piece of wool will start to twist and curl up, and it'll go like curly. So you might need to hold that ring up in the air, let the bottom dangle to the ground, and it will untwist itself. So I think we've got going on that one, haven't we? Looks alright to me. Do this while you watch the telly. Well, you won't be able to watch the telly because you've got to watch what you're doing. But anyway, now can you see how I've got a ridge around that outside edge? It should be as neat as you can. What you can do is push the loops a bit together, close it up. You don't want it all loose and tufts sticking out, and you don't want it too tight either, because when you come to decorating it you will need to stitch into it. So here's two actually that I did earlier, started earlier. Now you can see what's happened there. I haven't got enough wool to finish it. I didn't measure right, so what I need to do is get another piece of wool, hopefully enough to finish that gap off. I think maybe that would be about right, I think, hopefully. So I shall take that needle off, so we've got two ends on it now. Thread the new piece into the needle. These needles have got really big eyes so I can see them. If you find that you haven't got enough wool to finish the job, you have to put some fresh piece on your needle. So what you do is start off in the same way as you did before, holding that tail end there. So I've got a shorter piece of wool this time. I've got a shorter needle as well, but and carry on. This end will get tangled up, so you might have to pull it out. Wrong piece. See, I've got hold of the wrong piece. Make sure you get the right piece, the long piece. And it's got tangled up again. I've only got one pair of hands, so I need to keep that out of the way, maybe hold on to it. So I'm starting again with a fresh piece. It's very fiddly, and if somebody knows an easier way, please let me know. So here we go. Now we've got going again with the new piece of wool. So how do we finish off? Well, we've got a gap there now, and we've got the end of one piece and the beginning of the next piece. Right, but never mind, we'll leave it at that for a minute and we'll carry on till we get to the end. I didn't really want to have to do this, like join a second piece, but my calculations were not very accurate and I didn't put enough wool on the needle in the first place. But this mistake can be rectified. Right, I don't know if you need to see much more of this, because I think that's pretty clear on how to wrap a ring with wool, cord, string, whatever you want to use, whatever colours you want to use. So you can see I've gone, oops, getting stuck up there. You can see I've gone a good way down there, and the ridge is the same, but I've got to the point where I've got those two pieces, the start of one and the beginning of the other. So I'll just twist a little bit, push them together, and just do a simple knot. Doesn't need to be a double knot, just that, just turn it once. Now when I finish the whole lot, I shall just thread these onto a needle and choose which is going to be the back and the front. That's my front, right, and I will get a needle and just weave a few stitches in between, get rid of these and weave it in at the back like that. So that's how I get rid of the ends. And of course when I get to that end, I'll do the same again, because I've still got that start piece there. So I'll go round a bit further and then pull that gap together and it will be finished. Right, and we'll have a nice covered, neat and tidy ring. Now that's the basics, that's the start of it. This is what you need to do before you do anything else. You need to know how to do this. We could do quite a lot with the rings, as I've already showed you, back one. What I'm doing now is making up a lot of them. In fact, I might just pick the camera up and show you what I've done so far. And I'm thinking of doing a wall hanging and putting them or lay them out on the wall hanging. You can actually make brooches with them, right? This is my first attempt at a brooch. I've got a little fastener at the back, but the problem there is because it's not flat and I've put felt at the back, it's a little bit wobbly. It doesn't work very well. I need to put something more solid inside there to make it really strong flat back. So I'm going to have to rethink that idea, but you can make brooches with them. You can also add another row of crochet around the edge if you want to. This is a large plastic ring and I've done 2 or 3 rows of crochet around the edge to make it bigger. There's lots and lots of variations. You can make small ones, teeny weeny ones though, little ones, and even teeny weeny ones, very small ones. You can add beads to them. You can add beads if you like. This is actually an earring, so you can see it's not exactly the same all the way around. So have a look in your junk box, any rings that you've got, and have a go at that. Right, just a quick look of what's on my table. I'm going to lift the camera up. Thank you for watching. This is Mean Queen, Life After Money. Bye.